Hey there, my name is Renee Prince and I'm a clinical practicing herbalist. I specialize in critical care and cancer and some neurological things, but I also just practice trying to help people be independent in their wellness or get back to the earth as a matter of their medicine and their balance. And I was on the phone with a friend of mine who's also a practitioner, and we were talking about the importance of the old ways are still alive and the heritage of your own being or your bioregion. And we were talking about teaching, and I am on a series of teaching about trees. And so I wanted to show you something. I'm also a traditional healer. Like, I didn't mention that when I just started. And so the idea of, for traditional healing, especially with the diaspora that I genetically come from, everything is linked and in communion with everything else. So the idea that one thing begets the next thing begets the next thing, and if we form a personal relationship with the earth and trees and plants and other things, everything that we could possibly need will be provided for by our family. That's something that we really need to think about and talk about. So I'm going to show you, I'm going to walk you through why that's important from like a Celtic, but before the word Celtic was a thing, standpoint. So right next to me, I want you to see, like, I'm just going to slowly turn, and you see there's just trees everywhere, like beautiful, beautiful trees. And I have this one that's right next to me here, and I'm going to show it to you. So this is just beautiful, beautiful maple. I'm going to walk you up and show you the bark. So the idea that maple, from a clinical standpoint, will help to regulate your blood, like it'll help to mineralize your blood and regulate your blood, and that in all the communities that it grows, that it's considered to be the blood of the forest and the first blood and helpful to nourish you. We would use maple or ask for maple to help when we were needing to not only just stabilize somebody, but also in a way that we would need to help them get their minerals, help them digest, help them if they had a wasting syndrome, just like almost like a multivitamin having to do with nourishing and mineralizing your blood, okay? And on the maple, right next to the maple, touching the maple, is this oak. Now I'm going to show you the oak bark, and then I'm going to show you some oak leaves. So I want to show you, like, it's just beautiful, that's why. And like, it's this giant, like, look at that. I also want you to see that. So we start to see poison ivy, which we don't call her poison ivy. We call her goddess ivy. And the thought that on all of our plants, we have companion plants. I'm going to walk you to the leaf and then we're going to talk about it. We have companion plants from a Celtic diaspora from before the word Celtic, like principal people, like primary principal people in the beginning of humans being humans. During that time, it was said, and this is the way it went about, and this is what our elders would have taught us. Here, I want you to see. Look how beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Acorns. They would have wanted us to know this plant from like a family standpoint, because if you knew this tree, oak, then all the other plants growing with it were part of what your medicine was. And so that's really super important, that if you knew one tree, you had companion plants that went with it that were the most helpful, and they each held attributes. So this beautiful oak right here, see, I love the acorns. The acorns are prosperity and abundance. The oak is astringing, so it's going to help to stop bleeding. I'm going to turn it for you, hold on. It's going to help to stop bleeding. It's going to tighten tissues. It will help gum bleeding. It's an antimicrobial, an antiviral, and an herbal antibiotic. Because of that, it makes really good mouthwashes and wound washes and wound care. But also, it will tonify the tissues internally. So if you think about things like varicose veins or stuff leaking out of you in any way. Now remember, I showed you that goddess ivy was with it. So we're going to switch back and walk back. Now watch, I want to show you. We're going to make a whole circle with all this. So we're near blood nourishing maple, and we just were at the oak that I told you stops you from bleeding and helps with wounds. So wouldn't we need blood nourishing? And then I showed you that poison ivy, which people don't like. But for us, all plants are our elders, are important to us. See how beautiful it is? So beautiful. Like, look how big those leaves are. Poison ivy keeps us out when there's problems. But for us, that means that clinically, it's going to keep things away from us, help with inflammation, things that are attacking us. So you can start to see the link. So right in this small area, we have the beautiful oak, maple, oak, the ivy, and you can see, I'm going to take you to another one. The difference with that would be that one stops you from bleeding and protects you from the outside influence, like, you know, like a germ, antimicrobial. One nourishes your blood and helps tissues heal. So you see what that would fit with that. The ivy, the poison ivy that's on it, is going to protect you from things coming towards you spiritually. So if you had a cut or you were sick like that, wouldn't you need that, right? And so then right next to it, one of our most important plants ceremonially and clinically is this beautiful, beautiful cedar. So cedar is one of the strongest medicines we can have in the area that I'm in, and from that Celtic standpoint. So cedar's antimicrobial, antibiotic, antiviral, extremely protecting, helps to knit tissues back together. So now I'm going to show you, watch. Then we have the ivy that's down there, the poison ivy that's down there. And then the last one before I'm going to take you to another one. That beautiful holly. So in the classes that the very next one is going to be holly. And the idea around anything spiritual, anything clinical, I'm going to take you to a big holly. Anything that plant, that tree is trying to tell us, it has all these other plants that it protects, herbaceous plants that it protects. And in that, we receive that medicine as well. And so the idea of starting to treat these beautiful things like they're family and we should get to know them. Okay, watch. So here's this beautiful tree. This is a holly tree. It's not blooming yet where we are. I want you to see on it is not only ivy, but then poison ivy. And that's not a big deal. Ivy and then poison ivy. So as we look at that, start to think about the relationship that I just showed you. I'm going to take you around so you can see. We're still on the holly. So then we have poison ivy and ivy right there. Now think about what I just did. Every single one of those plants was causal linked. Like one begets the next, begets the next. So the holly is something that's super protective of our blood, of our bones, helps to scrub out things that are poisonous to us. Like think about like things like saponins. And I'll be talking about these plants, but the holly in particular, this Thursday online. Why it's important though for me, like even if you never come to any of my classes, it's important because the idea that everything we need to know is right here. That the one that nourishes our blood is next to the one that stops our bleeding, is next to the one that kills the germs if we had an open cut, is next to the one that spiritually wraps itself around us and with a vengeance protects us from outside invaders. It's all in the same place. And if you just know one tree, then you absolutely, positively know all the plants, and all the plants, herbaceous plants that are around it will support you. They'll understand that you're friends with that tree. And so the thought of that is just amazing. Here, I'm going to turn you. So there's our cedar, poison ivy on the ground. There's our magical gigantic oak. And there's our maple. And those other plants that were growing on the ground are supports of that. They are all helpers from one to the next to the next. So if you want to learn, and much of it is not written down because it wasn't something that was written down, it was passed by elders, and I have an unbroken line of plant knowledge. If you want to learn that for yourself, for your own diaspora, your own genetic line, for your own bioregion, just go ahead and hit me up. 4 Elements School of Traditional Medicine. This Thursday, we're going to be talking about holly and all the spiritual and clinical sides of holly. And we'll speak this way, and it will be unbroken knowledge as well as clinical knowledge. So anything like that, if that interests you and you think that that's going to help you promote wellness in your body and get back to the earth, give me a call or a text or personal message me. And I just look forward to hearing from you and helping you on your plant journey in any way. Here, before we go. So beautiful. Thank you so much. Protect the earth. It loves you. It's your family.